welcome to my channel. My name is Abdullah Al-Kamil, and in this video I'm gonna give you an overview on the new Smart Personal Budget template version 3. And because we added a lot of new features to this template, I'm gonna also be giving you some instructions on how to use the template. So let's look at the first thing that you'll be doing in the template. So when you receive the template, and the first thing you need to do is to set up your accounts. So most of us will have at least one bank account, one cash account, and one credit card account. And the cash account, which might confuse some people, is basically how much money you have in cash, and that will grow and shrink based on your how much you spend in cash or how much you withdraw from your bank account or ATM machine. And so this is what the cash account is for. So basically to come up with the final balance of all of your accounts in a certain currency. Okay, so you need to define the name of your account, and then you need to define your starting balance, and you need to define the currency for that account. Starting balance is basically how much money you have before you started using this template. The currency is basically what the currency of your account is, and this is fully customizable. And to change the currency, you need to define the currency in a sheet called master lists, and this is where you'll find your currencies. And if you have more than two currencies, basically just expand the table and add any currencies you have or replace the ones you have here. And this is the type for your accounts. You can add more account types as you need. Okay, so and then we have the current balance calculated for each of those accounts, and if you have no transactions in your template, you'll basically see that the starting balance is equal to the current balance. All right, but this gets calculated as you go along and add more transactions. Okay. And also, since we have now multiple accounts, we need a way to transfer between the accounts, because as we said, sometimes we withdraw money from the bank account, so it will move from a bank account to the cash account, but we still have that money. We haven't spent it yet, so we need visibility on how's that happening. Okay, so the transfer between accounts is fairly simple. So you define what account you took the money from, how much money you took from that account, and where did you transfer that money to. So which account did you transfer the money to, and what is the amount transferred. Okay, and then the exchange rate will get calculated, and this means that whenever you can also transfer between accounts of different currencies, and that happens most of the time when you travel. So if you travel, you will use your credit card on an ATM machine in a different country where the currency is different basically. So you can do that here as well with no problems. And the last thing you need to do in the setup page is define your categories. So defining your categories is now a little bit different. So once you define the name of your categories, you need also to define is it an expense or income. Okay, and it's a best practice to put the expenses at the top, leave income at the bottom, and for a certain calculation that we're making, you need to leave at least one row blank. Okay, and that calculation is basically in the analysis page, and it's showing us what is the biggest and the second biggest and third biggest of each of these spending categories. But if you don't leave any row blank, it's okay. I mean, the calculations are still correct. All the numbers are correct. The only thing is these comments here might not show in the right way. Okay. So then you define the budget for each of these categories, and this will apply most of the time to your home country currency only. And then you decide whether to include it in the budget calculation or not. So if you choose no, basically you will get a blank cell where the calculation should happen. Okay, so this is basically the account setup page and what you need to do in it. And then we move to the input page. The only difference we see is you need to define for each transactions, what account did you use for that transaction. And once you choose the account, you will see something gets calculated, which is called the available funds. And this is basically how much money you have before you made this transaction. Okay, so this amount here is basically how much money we have before we spend $190. Okay, and the last column we have here is to define. You can use it in any way you like. You can put comments related to the transaction, or you can use it to define subcategories for each of these transactions. So you have the freedom on how to use it. Okay, so we move on to the dashboard. So the dashboard now have a new purpose. It is now a consolidated view of all of your accounts in a certain currency. So now the selection, we selected USD. So it's telling us that we have 3 accounts in USD currency. And what you see here as numbers and charts is basically the consolidated view of all of those accounts, of all of those 3 accounts. All right, so you can see here something new we added, which is called month-end balance. And this is basically how much money we have from all of those accounts at the end of each month. And you see it dropping here because we're not making any money, because this is the cumulative income, so it's 0. And you see the expense is cumulative expenses growing. So basically the dropping here is exactly the same rate as the increase in the cumulative expenses. So that's gonna give you an indication for the month-end balance. Is whenever you see it go down, this is an alarm. This is not good. This means that you're using up your savings basically. Okay, so all of the numbers here are consolidated view of all of the accounts you have in the selected currency. All right, moving on to analysis page. Okay, let's switch to the other currency just to see how data move. So once you select the other currency, you will see the symbol for the currency change, and now it's, it shows you what's happening with your other accounts in the other currency, which is selected now. Okay. And the analysis page is basically the same. You have a consolidated view based on currency, and it's telling you here that the currency chosen is euros, and the year to analyze is still, you can choose that. And if you choose 2019, you're basically comparing 2019 to the previous year. And if you see an arrow here facing up, this means that the percentage change from the previous year is higher than 10%, and probably something you need to look at to kind of find out why that happened. Okay, also we're calculating the average daily spending, and similar chart to the one we've seen on the dashboards. It's telling us exactly what is happening with the month-end balance from all of the accounts using the chosen currency here. And the table here at the bottom is basically similar as before. The only addition we had is the month-end balance. So if you want in the analysis page to look at the other accounts in a different currency, you need basically to go to the dashboard, change the filters to USD, go back to the analysis page, and you see that the currency chosen now is dollars, and you see now everything is reflecting USD, and you can review your spending based on that currency. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk to you about, kind of give you an overview on it and how to use it. I hope you guys like it and found it useful. And please, if you have any comments, feedback, just drop me a comment in the comment sections. For sure I will be replying to all of your comments. And thank you so much for the support so far, and hope you guys enjoy. Thank you.